Hi, my name is Silke and I'm working in the R&D department of Riese Müller and I'm presenting you the Urban Line. We have the Urban 5 and the Urban 7 as the newest members of the Riese Müller family. We have a complete new design for these frames. We have a completely new drive unit for these frames and we are entering the next step of connectivity with these models. For the Urban Line, we had special goals which we wanted to achieve, so we had to look for a new drive unit. It needed to be very integrated, as you can see here, and it needed to be very lightweight. And we found a German supplier, Fazua, which has a 4 kilogram system and is very neatly integrated into the down tube. The overall weight of the system is around 4 kilos. That's including the drive unit, battery, cables, display and remote, which is very, very lightweight. This allows us to have a very low overall weight. You have 60 Newton meters of torque and you have 430 watt-hours, which give you optimal assistance considering the very low weight of the bike. So another advantage of the Ride 60 system is that it has no pedaling resistance and it's completely noiseless. You can charge the battery on and off the bike, so you can charge it when the battery is mounted, and you also can remove the battery and charge it wherever you want to. When we developed the Urban Line, we wanted to have a maximum of integration. We have a very neatly integrated drive unit, so basically when you're looking at the frame and at the bike, you don't really see that it's an e-bike. And that's another thing which was very important to us, because we wanted to have an e-bike which looks and feels like a bike. They have a very clean cockpit with internal cable routing. We have an integrated spacer and stem combination, and we have an integrated lamp holder. Also, the LED hub is placed on the top tube and gives you information about the battery status and of the support of level you have. If you want to have more information, you can safely mount your smartphone onto the SP Connect interface on the stem. Of course, you can use the Riese Müller app to have more information. The Fazua ring control is a very minimalistic remote. You can choose your support level, you can switch on the light, and you also can use it when you need walk assistance. The Urban 5 as well as the Urban 7 has a new connectivity module, with which we are entering the next level of connectivity. Via the new connectivity module, the bike is communicating with your smartphone and the Riese Müller app. A new feature is the movement alert, so when somebody tries to move or steal your bike, it will make a very, very noisy sound. For the Urban Line, we created a new design language with very precise lines and edges. Via flat welding and grinding, we have very smooth details on the bike. So basically, we are overcoming the limitations of aluminum and welding constructions. A beautiful detail is the kink here in the top tube of the Urban 7, which resembles the kink in the back of the Urban 7. When we were discussing about colors for Urban Line, we quickly realized that we need a different option than of the existing Riese Müller portfolio. So we want to have a very high quality appearance of the bikes, but in muted colors, and that's why we chose a natural mineralic color, the silver for the Urban 5 and the rose for the Urban 7. You also can choose the Urban 7 in white and the Urban 5 in black matte. The decals are also tone-in-tone with the frame color. We are very conservative about the logos on the bike because we wanted to speak the bike for itself. You can see the graphical symbol on the steering tube. It is purposely different to the other Riese Müller bikes because we wanted to suit it to the urban target group. The geometry of Urban Line is agile and dynamic. They have a very progressive head tube angle and we have a very short seat stay, so it's really agile and brings you fast to your goal. The moderate seat tube angle is for different riding positions, as you can choose with the standard configuration or with the comfort kit. Both Urban 5 and Urban 7 are the most agile bikes we have in the Riese Müller portfolio. The geometry of Urban Line makes it a very dynamic ride. The head tube angle is adapted so it fits the rigid fork as well as the suspended fork. In the rear part of the bike we have a pannier rack which is very neatly integrated into the frame, and you can put 7.5 kilos on each side. You can carry 15 kilos in total with you. Also, the rear light is integrated into the fender. Urban 5 and the Urban 7 have different frames. Urban 5 is a classical top tube frame. Urban 7 has a lower top tube. The standard configuration for Urban 5 as well as Urban 7 is the fork in the same color as the frame and the very lightweight aluminum seat post. If you want to have more suspension, you can add the suspension package. With the suspension package comes the Suntour GVX, a very lightweight suspended fork, as well as a suspended seat post. Also, standard configuration for Urban 5 and Urban 7 is a flat handlebar. For a more relaxed riding position, you can choose the Comfort Kit, which has a handlebar with back sweep, ergonomic grips and a broader saddle. For the Urban line, you can choose between 3 different gear options. You have the Touring option with an 11-gear rear derailleur shifting system. The silent version has an 8-speed internal gear hub. And for the first time for Riese Müller, we have a single-speed bike with a belt drive. The Urban 5 and the Urban 7 are available in frame sizes 45, 51 and 57. When you're thinking of the Urban line, think of it more as a system, not as a bike or parts on a bike. We chose every component fitting into the integration and into the system of the Urban line. So this is why it looks so minimalistic and reduced. We have specified about 90% of new components to fit the needs of the Urban line. We chose well-known brands because we want low maintenance and we want to have reliability. Sustainability is an important topic to Riese Müller. We took sustainability into consideration when we were thinking about the Urban line. So we tried to source as local as possible. For example, the frame comes from Portugal as well as the rims. We have a German drive unit supplier, we have grips from Finland, and we have lighting from Germany. The tires have a puncture protection, the Green Guard, which is made of recycled material. Also, the rubber comes from the Gap Rubber project, where farmers get paid a fair price for their work. And the logistics of the Urban line are carbon neutral. There are a few things which are very new to the Urban line and to Riese Müller. We have a new design language, we have a new drive unit, and we have a new connectivity module which gives us even more options than we had before. The Urban line is made for urban use. So we have a low maintenance bike, very easy to use, and it rides just as a normal bike. You won't see on the first glance that it's an e-bike, but it supports you like an e-bike, but rides like a bike. This is because there's no pedaling resistance to the system and because of its very low weight. The Urban line is 20 to 30% lighter than the bikes we have in our portfolio. So you can choose between Urban 5 and Urban 7. You have the standard kit with a rigid fork and aluminum seat post. You can opt for the suspension package with the suspended fork and the suspended seat post. You can have this flat handlebar, and you can also have more comfort with a back sweep handlebar, ergonomic grips and a broader saddle. Also, you have 3 different gear options, and you can choose between 2 colors each frame, silver and black matte for Urban 5 and rose and white for Urban 7. I'm really happy to present you the new Urban line. I really like it and I hope you do too. Thank you very much.